Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk with Victory. I am your host, Armira Blackwell, and beside me, I have my amazing co-host, Miss Leisha Lee, as well as the beautiful ladies of Let's Talk with Victory. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Beautiful, beautiful. So today's show is very, very special. It is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And because it is Mother's Day, today's show will be celebrating women. So on today, we'll be talking about our mothers. We have a couple mothers on stage, and so they're going to talk about their experience as mothers. We're going to talk about women and mothers that may not have been our mother, but how they inspire us and all of those things like that. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so me personally, I have a great relationship with my mother. I love my mother down. My mother is like my road dog. You know how when you growing up, your mother always say, I'm not one of your little friends. But just between me and y'all, my mother can be my little friend sometimes. Like me and my mother, we have that kind of relationship. And it's a lot of times where like certain stuff that I'll do, she just be like, you act just like me. She like, my mother always says that me and my sister act like her at like two different points in her life. So I am more of like the younger version of her, where she was so nice and sweet, a jokester and all that, because my mother plays a lot of jokes on my grandmother, and so she got it right back to her like 10 times full. So every time she be like, why do you act like that? Why? Do you really want to know why I act like that? And then she says my sister is more of her now. How she is now, how she is just so open and free, and how she just says whatever and everything like that. So I love my mom, and my mom inspires me in so many ways. I always says how my mom is never satisfied, and that's how one of the things that I aspire most about her, never satisfied, meaning that she always wants more. So she's always gonna go after more, and she has always instilled in us to go after more, and to not only go after more, but make opportunities for ourselves and not just wait for them to come. She always says that our gifts will make room for us, and so she always teaches us how to just go, like go what you want. And I appreciate the support that she gives us, because not a lot of parents, especially when it comes to like me being a dancer, especially when it comes to like artists or like jobs or careers that are not necessarily like you work in a 9-to-5 or like just your typical career, but I've always had my mother's full support with any of the dreams that I decided to chase, and I'm very, very appreciative of her. Very.
Nice. Well, I think my mother, so it's funny, right? So growing up, I used to hear everybody else calling my mother by her name. So I started calling my mother by her name, but people would look at it like, that's not your mother? I'm like, yeah, that's my mother. Well, why are you calling her by her name? And I didn't have an answer. I just be like, I don't know. So then I just switched so people could stop asking me that. I just start calling her mother. So I don't say my or mama. I be like mother. And she be like daughter. But I think growing up, I had a good relationship with my mother. I kind of like grew up with my mother because she had me when she was young. So I was always around like the older crowd. Not really older, but I mean, of course, older than me. But like all of my older cousins and my mother, they used to always hang out. So I was always around them and around my aunts and stuff like that. But I think my mother, she had like, she wasn't an affectionate person. Not like she was like, oh no, don't hug me. Because when we hugged her, you know, she would hug us back and everything like that. But she wasn't like really emotional. So I think that kind of made me like goofy. I just used to act up, and my mother, let me tell y'all, my mother, I feel past this pain because my mother did beat me with the belt, and not too much because I ain't getting in trouble too much though. I was good in school, but outside of school, oh my God. But I think me and my mother had a really good relationship. We still do have a relationship. She's probably watching this show. Hi, Mother. So just say hi to her. But I think seeing how my mother raised me helped me to kind of have an idea of like what I would want to be as a mother, or how I would want to be as a mother. And I think I show that towards my nieces, kind of, sort of. And sometimes I'll do stuff, they'll be doing something, and I'll be like, we're not doing that. No, come here, you're not going over there. And I think, like, my mother used to do that to us, or say that to us. So I find some of that, her qualities or traits are in me, even though I said I ain't doing that when when I get older, but something like that. So, yeah.
I can relate to what you were saying about your mother with the hugging and everything. I actually grew up, my family's like that. They don't show a lot of emotion. So with that being said, when I became a mother, I actually changed that.
Okay.
So I guess sometimes my daughter would say I was kind of overbearing. But it was like, I guess I was making up for all the things that I didn't have growing up. But the type of mother that I am, I consider myself like empathetic, a selfless mother, compassionate, genuine, of course, loving. And me and my daughter, we have an excellent relationship. I can relate to you too, Sister Mira. You know, we are friends, but she does know that I am her mother.
100%.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's
Never
the thing.
cross that
Yeah, never
boundary.
cross that.
100%.
Yeah, all I have to do to this day is just look at it. She said, oh, I know when your eyes change. You know, like, oh, okay, mom mode. Yeah, but my aunt who raised me, she was my mother. Although my mother birthed me, she was like my second mom. And she instilled a lot of things in me. And one of the things that she really instilled, regardless of any circumstance, to still get up and still strive. You know, my aunt, she passed away of pancreatic cancer, and even on her deathbed, she still was working things out and looking out for people, love, you know what I mean, just everything. She made sure everything was in order, you know, even financially with her whole family before she passed. So she just had a lot of strength and a lot of courage, and she was a single mother. So all of the things that she did as being a single mother, it really played a big part of my life. Like, okay, I'm a teenage mom, what am I gonna do? And then I looked and reflected on my aunt and her actions like, oh, okay, God, we had this. Well, he told me we had this. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
Have y'all ever felt like once y'all got older though, it was like, all right, I gotta like not be the mother, but sometimes when you say stuff, it's
She
like
my parent.
my
I
mother,
gotta parent my parent.
your parent. My mother don't
yeah,
listen.
definitely.
It was a little meme. I saw that on social media too. It was like my mother don't listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it all the time. It'd be like, raising your parents is the hardest thing that you have ever done. And I keep telling my mother, and I'd be like, Ma, as of right now, I'm the parent. And I'd just be like, because I'd be like, sometimes where you going? She'd be like, I'm grown. Yes, but I'd still like to know where you're going if that's okay with you. If that's okay with you. Yes, parenting a parent as a growing adult is very hard. It's very hard.
And I'm like that now with my mom. She goes out and I'm like, okay, looking at the time, like, are you home yet? What time is it? Make sure you call me when you get in the house. And she tells her girlfriend, she giggles. She be like, oh, you know, I'm on a curfew. Kim put me on a curfew. My husband put her on a curfew. Everybody puts on a curfew. We're calling like, you home yet? And she's like, I don't have the answer to you. And I'm like, no, you do. You have to call me when you get in the house. So she's, you know, I'm like she's my mom, but I'm like her mom right now. So.
I have that same experience. I have what I call two senior teenagers, and I'm wondering if this is payback for how I was as a teenager, because they don't listen. I just got a picture by text I shared with our producer the other day. My mother in front of a live band singing. Ma'am, when was this? Like, you didn't want to tell me you were out in. What are you doing? I was never allowed to be out in the party, go singing and leading no band. But yes, very much trying to parent your parents is a difficult thing. Like, I really can't believe I was this bad.
Oh, she was out having fun.
Was I this bad?
Yeah, it's a little rough some days, but I love my mother, but I don't want nothing to happen to her. So I'm like, okay, Ma, you doing this or whatever, or if she'll say, oh, I went out and I just went to the library, or I went, and, you know, in my mind, I'm just thinking like, okay, she can go there, but I know she likes to go to stores and certain, you know, and this world is different, you know, and I don't want anybody that has to bring me any money, because I'm, locked down. So I just, but sometimes making decisions or things like that, you just want to make the right decision for them too. Like if they trust you to make the decision, you just want to make the right decision. And you're like, man, is this how, and then being a mother too. So then I'm just like, oh wow, I guess this is how it was with me, her trying to make the right decisions for me. And now I'm making a decision, and they don't always want to listen to the decision you make.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? But, you still have to have respect and still know that you're the child.
Yeah.
That's a the balance that I believe that we have to have in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in my household, like my mom, she instilled in my sister and I about family, and we saw from my parents, it was a house of love, Basically, they showed us what a husband and wife and a family should look like. So with that being said, I really do instill in my daughter, who is my mini-me, what a house of love should look like. And so now my mom, when she was raising us, she was very stern. Like we couldn't go to sleepovers or we couldn't go to different things.
Not at all.
When I remember this to this day, my mother and father celebrated their wedding anniversary in the Poconos, and who was right there? My sister and I. And so they would always say, we were the blockers. They couldn't do anything without us. So now that I am a mom, I try to give Stephanie a little bit of freedom, a little leeway, go to her little friends, get-togethers and things without having any issues. So it trains you, it teaches you when you're raised a different way. Like it makes you really think about, okay, I want my child to have a little bit more opportunities and a little bit more leeway in her social upbringing. But yeah.
But to that, I feel like my mom didn't let me go. It was like a certain number of people you could go, and then some people, I'd be like, okay, they having a party, I'm gonna spend the night. She's like, no, you're coming home. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll be waiting. I'll look out the door. You run down the street, whatever. But I never understood that. I always thought because my mother had me like in her 30s that she didn't really understand me. But as I got older, I was like, no, she really understood me, and she really protected me. Like she made sure, her and my father made sure I was protected, because who knows, some of the places that I wanted to be, who knows what would have happened. Now I did my own thing sometimes, but because my mother might be watching this, but I was a little sneaky, right? So, and I could have a straight face, right? So, but the thing is that, a lot of times I talk to her about everything. My cousins used to be like, you tell her everything you do. And I'm like, yeah, is that wrong? But they had me growing up, some of them thinking like, oh, all right, I need to stop telling her, things when that was wrong. But I used to think, like, she doesn't understand me. It's because she older, because me and my brother were 13 years apart. So I'm like, she get him, but she don't get me. And reality is, she got me, and she want to make sure that I was kept. So, and I think with my children, I try to not give them more leeway, but I try to understand them more, because I don't want them to feel like I don't understand. So even if I try to understand, like, this social media thing, like in my DMs thing, stuff like that, I'm like, okay, listen, I understand that's how y'all meet people, but this is my problem with that. And so I try, and not just like, no, get out them DMs, no, you can meet people in the street, So I think I try to let them know that I understand more, because I always felt like I was misunderstood when I was growing up.
I agree with that, because like when I was a child, I couldn't have conversations with my mother about certain things that I wanted to have freely. But the crazy thing about it is, then when I became an adult, we would talk about anything. And like my friends were like, you talk to your mother about sex and stuff like that? Yeah, like what's wrong with you? Like, so now with Stephanie, like, you still don't. And I became in my 20s, and now, older years before my mother passed away, we would have a conversation about anything. And I love that, because I felt as though that, my mom's ear to God's ear, like if I had a situation or something I didn't understand, I felt comfortable talking to her about it. So I started thinking about that. I was like, you know what, hey, the relationship that I had with my mom in the later years, I want to establish that with my daughter in her younger years, and I don't want her to feel like there's anything that she can't talk to me about. you know. And right to this day, Stephanie will call me. She'll talk to me probably about some stuff that she may not talk to her dad about, because I give her that opportunity. I'm not, I'll listen and not judge. You know, that's the new thing. Well, I really do. I listen and I don't judge, because I'm like, she didn't have to tell me, and then what would have happened if I didn't know? So this way I can steer her in the right direction. Even if I don't agree with what the conversation is, I still can steer her in the right direction. So I agree.
And I
with
think that's good that you said that. You both kind of like touched on it, and that's what I try to instill in my kids as well. I know growing up, I was like afraid to talk to like my mom, so I hid a lot of stuff. And like Sheree, I'm only calling you out because you labeled yourself. You said you were sneaky, so I was very sneaky. So like with my kids, it's like I keep telling them, like, when you get older, you have kids, you will understand. Yes. You know, my mom used to always say that to me, and I remember calling my mom and apologizing to her after I had my kids, like, Mommy, I'm so sorry, you were so right, because it's like, you know, tables turn. But I try to be open to listen to my kids. I know at one point, you know, I had to kind of like retrain myself because I would get upset. But it's like now what I hope that I instill in my kids is that they can talk to me, and I do try to listen. But what I try to tell them too is that just because you're telling me something doesn't mean that I have to agree. So as well as mothers, we're being open, saying, hey, you can talk to us. Our kids have to be open as well. And know that what you tell us, we may not necessarily agree with it, and that's okay, you know?
My mom, like, we do it as a joke, but it's an ongoing thing where she says, like, you know how, like, when you have friends and you get really, really close to those friends, and they start to be like your sisters, and so by nature you call their mom, because you're like my sister, this is like my mom. My mother made it very clear to me and my sister. She was like, you cannot call anybody else mom but me. I'm a very present mother. I do what I'm supposed to do. And now she said it as a joke, but she's right. My mother has always been very present. Every dance show, everything that I needed as far as dance, she always made sure that I had everything that I needed. So I wouldn't dare to part my lips and call somebody else mine and let my mother find out about it, or even just not do it in general. But, and like you were saying, she also didn't allow me to go everywhere or to go a lot of places with a lot of peoples. And when I was young, growing up, I didn't understand, like, why can't I go over this person's house? Why can't I have a sleepover at this house? And even now, it's just like sometimes, like when I'm with Monique or if I'm with Tori or Summer, I'll be like, hey, Ma, I'm going here with them. All right, cool. That's it. Text me when you get there. Cool. Nothing else for the rest of the night, because she knows their parents, and she knows that they would never put me in harm's way. She trusts them with me. But other people, she'd be like, all right, you got to be at home at this time. I don't really know them like that, so you need to text me while you there. You need to call me at some point, this, that, and the third. And I'll be coming in the house sometimes at 1 o'clock, and she just be knocked out sleep. Some parents be like, I can't go to sleep till my kids get home. My mother will sleep with the peace of God. If I'm with any of those people, Tori, Monique, Summer, she knows that they will not put me in harm's way. Other times she calls my phone like, where you at? What time you coming home? But anything. So, and I didn't understand it. But I was like, my mom has always made it clear that I've always done a good job at picking my friends. And if I didn't, she would let me know immediately, like, I don't really know about them, and I don't really think that they're good for you. And even if I didn't understand it at the moment, I had to understand that these are people that you are asking, that when you're taken out of my care, they have to watch over you. Not that they necessarily have to be your mother, but they are now partially responsible for you. So I need to make sure that once you're taken out of my care, I can trust them with your life, because I'm going to do everything in my power to protect you. I'm going to always make sure you're good, so that when you leave me and everything like that, I still need to make sure or trust that you're good. And I am growing up. I'm more appreciative of it now that I understand why she does some of the things that she do. And a lot of times parents always say that, like, you won't understand when you become a parent. I'm not a parent yet, but my sister is also my child. So I also have I also have a 19-year-old. I'm like her surrogate mother. So like if my mother is out of town or something like that, or even sometimes if it's just me and my sister hanging. One time we went to go see my mother at her office, and I was like, as we were leaving, she was in there with a client. As we were leaving, I was like, okay, I'm about to go feed my child. And so she called me, as we were walking out, she called me back in the room, and the client was like, you have a child? I was like, yes. She was like, who's your child? And here come Trinity, this big one right here, that's supposed to be my sister. Yeah, she's also my child when my mother's not around. And there was one time with Trinity, my mother was out of town. Trinity texted me like, hey, can my friend come over? I was like, oh, you asking me? I get parent privileges now to let you know whether or not your friend comes over? Oh, yes, absolutely. Of course they can come over. So, and I feel like having siblings also can make you like my sister is about to turn 20 years old this year, and I don't know what I'm about to do with myself. And I feel like having siblings can definitely make you feel like a parent. Like my little baby is growing up, and how did this happen? When did this happen? Why is this happening? Like,
especially when you gotta watch your siblings, your younger sisters and brothers. Yeah, it's like, all right, I'm the parent now. You gotta listen to me. You gotta do what I say. But then as you get older, it's like with one of my sisters, she'll text me, hey, what you think about this? Hey, do you think even with the career change? And I was like, all right, look, you got to look at the whole scenario. You got to look at the whole situation. Look at where you are in finances. You know your bills. I can't tell you what to do. You can always make money. You might not always find peace everywhere, but you can always make money in different areas, different ways or whatever, in different places. So I think being an older sibling, it's like you're not taking a mother role, but it's like you become a mother figure to them, especially being, a sister or whatever, older sister. Now, the other ones, they pretty much do what they want to do. Like, all right, I'm tired. After this one, no. But then with my nieces and stuff, it's like, all right, I think too, for me, being a teacher, so a person who had a really big impact on me is my pre-K teacher. I still remember her, Miss Vincent. And I think the type of person that she was, the caring and the love that she showed towards her students, it made me want to go into the teaching profession. And then being around other children, I'm like, all right, I'm not the mother, but I can be another figure to help them, help groom them, try to develop them to become what they need to be and being a better person or whatever. And then different development stages and stuff too. So that goes along with my nieces too. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like different people, there are different influences or different women who have been a part of my life that I don't necessarily call mother, but they are figures, and they have that, I don't know, what's the word? It's a certain word that I cannot think of right now. It's a word I can't think of, like a character trait or not personality, but being who they are. It's just like, I don't know how to explain it. But yeah. So, you was about to say something?
I was. I just think of how many other women, my mom did a great job, but I think so much of community, and even here in our church, how the influence of other women, has impacted my life. I remember first coming here and being grabbed by somebody like a missionary Angie, who took some time with me, or to this day, missionary Mary, I call her Mommy Mary, adopted me as a daughter. Miss Brenda grabbed me as a daughter, so and imparted different things to me. Some of them, their temperaments are different, and how it takes so many different women really over the course of our lives to influence us, whether that's in career and family or even in our walk as mothers, godmothers, aunts, etc.
I don't. Speaking of, you were saying sisters. I don't have any sisters or brothers, but I'm the go-to cousin, and I help raise my cousins. So all my cousins call me for advice. I wanted to say this because I had encountered this years ago when I was working with children. I think as parents, we have to actually evolve and grow as our children grow and get older. Sometimes parents, say your child is 10, I'm not able to talk to you the same way if you're 30 or 20. Me and my daughter, like I said, have an awesome relationship, but I also talk to her as a parent and I talk to her as a woman. And I'm not biased in situations when she presents them to me. I understand. I have an open mind and I give advice. And I'm glad that she doesn't always take it, but she listens and she values it. And I'll say she takes it maybe 80% of the time.
Mm-hmm. One of mine is, you all know her as Elder Tasha, but she's also my Aunt Tasha in the process of becoming Godmommy Tasha. But she is definitely one of the people that I have in my community that has made a big impact on my life. I was sick a couple weeks ago, and I'm assuming she heard from my mother that I was sick, and she literally stopped what she was doing, called me, and prayed with me, prayed for me being sick and everything like that. And it's little things like that, just little small things that people do that leaves an impact. And I aspire to be the kind of person where when you do something, it may seem small, but it's a big thing. And that's only one thing to do amongst the millions of other things that she's did for my life. I always tell her that in being my Aunt Tasha, although she's not blood, being blood related to her would just be a perk if we were blood related, because she already does everything that a blood aunt would be or should be doing. And she's also been very, very present in my life. And I always talk about how that extended family, those people that you may choose in your life, or those people that God just sends and it like unknowingly sends into your life and allows them to just become a big impact. So she has also had a huge impact on my life. So shout out to her, Auntie Godmommy, Elder Tasha.
And if we speaking of people in the church, I would say mine would have to be Minister Kathy K.
Bless her heart.
Minister,
Bless
yes,
her heart.
Minister
We love
K.
Miss
She's
K.
like the aunt I didn't have. I really love her. She instilled, so many things in me and a lot of talk. She's helped me grow a long way since I've been here. And she's relatable. That's the thing, she's relatable. And the number one thing, she's real, because she will tell me if I'm wrong, right, left, anything.
Miss K's house used to be the go-to house after we had like youth activities here, or when we was at Morgan, we used to go right on over there. Everybody was at Miss K.
Yes, I love, yes.
But can I just say that I think all of y'all who are mothers here, I think y'all are wonderful mothers. I do watch y'all like from a distance, and I see how y'all interact with your children. Even Miss Dawn, when you bring your grandson, like it's like I can. Sometimes some things you can't put into words, but seeing y'all interactions with your children and how y'all, like your demeanor and how you carry yourself as a mother, it's very admirable. Did I say
I have to agree. The protection, still as like I've seen some of y'all kids come from here to be young adults, and it's amazing the work, the intention that you put into these young people. Kudos to you, ladies.
Amen. Well, that is all the time that we have today, ladies. We want to say thank you for tuning in with us, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. We want to send up a special happy heavenly Mother's Day to Mother Shirley Smith, the mother of this house, her life, her legacy, and without her, we will not have our amazing man of God, Pastor Tony Smith. We thank God for his life, and we thank you once again for tuning in with us. We pray that you were blessed by this. We pray that you were inspired by this. We pray that you felt appreciated by this as a mother. And until next time, we will see you later.
God bless you.